If coronavirus is the disease X the world has been fearing, then it possibly began somewhere like this, among a colony of bats.
There's sleeping time bombs across the region right now.
And then somehow the virus almost certainly crossed over to humans at so-called wet markets. These are places all over Asia, but particularly China, where wild animals are slaughtered on site and sold for food.
I think this is Mother Nature's revenge.
Stephen Galster is an environmental and human rights investigator who's been campaigning for years against Asia's wet markets. Governments throughout the region claim they've shut them down because of the coronavirus pandemic. But here in Bangkok, as you'll see, we're about to go undercover to show that's simply untrue. Stephen is fighting the coronavirus at its very source.
To contain, to delay, to research, and then to
Be
mitigate.
quiet.
While this man is leading the scientific fight against the pandemic at emergency World Health Organization meetings all around the world.
1.5% of that 100-person cluster has asymptomatic shedding of a live virus.
Professor Gabriel Leung is considered the world's foremost expert on coronavirus. Based in Hong Kong, he led the global fight against SARS.
At first, we heard rumors about a new mysterious atypical pneumonia sort of brewing on the mainland.
Was there much fright in those days? Was there?
Of course. It was very scary.
No end in sight to the SARS crisis.
The SARS death toll continues to rise.
In 2002, SARS rampaged through 17 countries, infecting over 8,000 people and killing nearly 800. Experts say that's just a hint of what this latest coronavirus could do.
It is certainly more infected. So, and it's also very difficult to try to control it.
And coronavirus, or COVID-19, as the illness is now being called, spreads far more rapidly than SARS. Unchecked, as countries like China and South Korea have discovered, the infection rate becomes exponential.
The big unknown now is really how big is the iceberg?
So you're guessing there could be many, many more people.
I don't know, but I'm suspecting that.
Coronavirus has already struck over 80 countries and counting. Professor Leung's prediction for the eventual extent of the pandemic is chilling.
From everything you've learned over the past weeks and months, what is your best estimate of how many people around the world could be affected by this virus?
Don't know. Everybody is susceptible. And if you assume that everybody randomly mix with each other, then eventually you will see 40, 50, 60% of the population get infected.
At current intelligence, that level of infection would mean between 45 and 60 million deaths worldwide. And that's just in the first wave of the virus, despite the desperate, draconian lockdown measures being used in China.
Is the second wave worse than the first wave, do you think?
Don't know, but we have to prepare for that possibility that there is a second wave.
As a person and a scientist, does this virus frighten you?
Every time I'm involved in an epidemic, it frightens me.
As Australia now prepares to be hit by the first wave of coronavirus, it's worth looking at the effect it has had on infected cities like Hong Kong, so close to the epicentre of the outbreak. I can tell you in all the years I've been coming here, this is not normal. This is one of Hong Kong's busiest market streets, and at this time of the day, it is always packed, jammed, teeming, shoulder to shoulder with tourists and shoppers. But this is a product of what public health officials call social distancing. If you don't have to be on the street, if you don't have a good reason, most of these people are going to the subway on either end, then simply stay home. All over Hong Kong, the impacts of this city battling its deadly, unseen enemy are everywhere. Shopping malls deserted. Amusement parks shut down or attended by the very few. Mandatory temperature checks before entering restaurants.
You do this to all the customers, do you?
Yeah. Okay, your temperature is 34.7 degrees.
And once inside, Perspex screens to shield the patrons. On the streets, the elderly line up for free handouts of masks and hand sanitizer. Most shops are selling little else. And where people are forced to congregate, like the subway system, everyone